Welcome to another edition of Don Hammond's Arlington Weekly News. Once again, I am doing a variety of different voices until someone complains. Here's the lineup for this week. The news, of course, community bulletin board and 55 plus news, plus an in-depth interview with Chris Yeazel of Flair Rides. That's the show. Now here's the social media reminder. You can watch us on YouTube at Arlington Weekly News and the number 1, also on Facebook, and you can listen on the radio at WERA 96.7 FM. Now, on to the news.
As of Sunday evening, July 19th, reports show the number of confirmed COVID-19 cases in Arlington had exceeded 2,700. Elsewhere, the Arlington County Board has accepted $450,000 in state funding to help Arlington residents who have lost income due to the COVID-19 pandemic pay for their rent or mortgage. There's a quote. "This funding can be a lifeline for many Arlingtonians who lost their jobs months ago and have not yet seen those jobs come back," County Board Chair Libby Garvey said. This funding is an acknowledgement by the state that people need help if we are going to avoid a wave of evictions and foreclosures in the coming months. The funding is retroactive to March 1st, 2020, and will extend through the end of 2020. The county is distributing the funding now through the Department of Human Services. Any Arlington resident who believes they may qualify should call DHS at 703-228-1300 for more information. Other grants approved by the county include a 7-month grant of about $100,000 from the Virginia Employment Commission to provide employment services both to Arlington and Alexandria residents who have recently been laid off and to employers looking to hire. An $87,000 state grant that will provide the Alexandria and Arlington Regional Workforce Council with 6 months of funding for layoff aversion strategies and activities to prevent or shorten the duration of unemployment caused by the pandemic. A $155,000 federal grant to fund more Section 8 housing choice vouchers in response to the increased need caused by the pandemic. The funding will support 12 more vouchers for persons with disabilities who are non-elderly and at risk of homelessness, already homeless, or transitioning from an institutional setting due to the pandemic. $136,000 in Department of Justice funding to reimburse county funds spent on public safety equipment, supplies, and activities in response to the pandemic, including overtime. Also, the Arlington County Police Department's Homicide Robbery Unit announced the arrest of 2 suspects for their involvement in a fatal shooting in Arlington Heights. Christopher Rather, 27, of Oxon Hill, Maryland, and Franklin Lambright, 27, of Temple Hills, Maryland, have been charged with murder and are being held in Prince George's County, Maryland, pending extradition back to the Commonwealth of Virginia. Additional charges are pending. The suspects were apprehended with the assistance of the Prince George's County Police Department and the FBI Violent Crimes Task Force. The shooting took place on Columbia Pike in the early morning hours of June 28th and left 1 victim deceased and 2 victims with minor injuries. The decedent was identified as Donovan A. Green, Jr., 21, of Upper Marlboro, Maryland. This is the 3rd homicide in Arlington County in 2020. Now it's time for Community Bulletin Board, also known as CBB.
Hi, and welcome to CBB. A documentary discussion group will view and discuss the documentary Amish, A Secret Life. The film provides a rare glimpse into one of the most secluded religious sects in the country. You can RSVP to Leela Paig at lpaig@arlingtonva.us for the links to the documentary and Zoom meeting. That's on Friday, July 31st from 1 o'clock to 2 o'clock p.m. The event is free. Also, Arlington Independent Media has teamed up with Arlington Cultural Affairs to bring you Lubber Run Live on WERA 96.7 FM on Saturdays at 5 p.m. through August 8th. Lubber Run Amphitheater is a summertime tradition for Arlington residents. However, during the pandemic, the shoulder-to-shoulder audiences just aren't possible. Nevertheless, people can still enjoy some terrific performances with no threat of rainouts. The lineup for Lubber Run Live includes, on August 1st, Justin Jones. A native Virginian, Jones started playing open mic nights in Charlottesville in his early teens and has appeared at the Virgin Mobile Festival and the Floyd Festival. Then on August 8th, we have Lauren Calve. Washington, D.C. area singer-songwriter, guitar, and lap steel player Lauren Calve has brought a vital new energy to the Americana scene. She delves into complex issues ranging from the increased polarization and divisiveness prevalent in the U.S. and around the world, corporate greed and their role in both the climate crisis and gun violence, women's stories that are dominating public consciousness, and even the risks of online dating. Now it's time for some truth in advertising. The performances will originate not from Lubber Run, but from the TV studio at Arlington Independent Media. In addition, since no radio broadcast can completely replicate the experience of a live show, a video camera will capture the visual performance for subsequent televised broadcast. Now here's an event for families. It's called Erosion in Glencarlyn Park, and it provides answers to questions like, what is erosion and how can it be prevented? The presenters will take a look at the causes and effects of erosion in Glencarlyn Park. You can obtain a link via email to Microsoft Teams before the program start time. Participants are asked to have their devices ready to go prior to the start of the program, and registration is required. Just call 703-228-4747 and refer to activity number 642950-G. That's coming up on Thursday, August 6th from 7 o'clock to 8 o'clock p.m. and the event is free. Next up, an improv workshop from Washington Improv Theater. It's a high-fun, low-stress class designed to show you how improvisers create spontaneous, off-the-cuff theater. You don't need theater experience. You don't need to be a funny person. Whether you're thinking about signing up for one of their 8-week courses, interested in exploring the idea of improv, or just looking for one night of silly, get-out-of-your-head play, just come in ready to have a good time. Improv is an amazing way to help people connect with each other and reignite their sense of play. So consider joining in on the fun for one of their 1-hour online workshops. This is a free workshop for adults, and it will be held via a Zoom meeting. You can register at https://web.ovationtix.com/TRS/PE/105-48077. That's on Friday, July 31st from 7 o'clock to 9 o'clock p.m. Now it's time for 55 Plus News.
Well, here we go again with the 55 Plus News. There's an announcement here that says, enjoy this virtual paint and sip demo from your home and while drinking your favorite beverage. Well, that seems fair enough. I mean, if you can't enjoy sitting at home drinking your favorite beverage, I figure you got a real problem. Anyway, they say that you'll need to have the listed supplies and print a picture prior to the demo, but don't worry, the supply list and picture will be provided with your registration confirmation. No experience is necessary except maybe knowing how to drink, otherwise it could get messy. You can RSVP to Charlika Ashton for this Zoom program. I reckon that means you ought to have a computer. Anyway, that's on Thursday, July 30th from 10 o'clock to 11:30 a.m., and the cost is free except for whatever your beverage is. Oh, and you can reach that Charlika Ashton at sashton@arlingtonva.us. Well, there's another session of bocce coming up. If you enjoyed the last one, you'll probably like this one. And if you missed the last one, you can join your friends and neighbors for a casual game on Thursday, July 30th from 10 o'clock to 11:30 a.m. at Highview Park, 1945 North Dinwiddie Street. The cost is free anyway. Now, Lowell Nelson will be offering his Mac, iPhone, iPad tutoring sessions via Zoom. He will provide 3 30-minute one-on-one tutoring sessions on select Wednesdays between 10 a.m. and 12 noon. If you have any questions at all regarding your Apple products, Mac, iPhone, or iPad, this is your chance to sign up for one of the 3 slots that are available. There's a Sign Up Genius link, which is https://www.signup.genius.com/go/20F0D48AE-AC2FA0F7-Mac. I think you probably need to be a genius to figure out how to get there. If you do, he'll send you a confirmation with a Zoom invitation. Next one's on Wednesday, August 5th. Again, the times start at 10 o'clock a.m. and end at 12:30 p.m. Next up, we got something called Waterwise Gardening. Amazing what they can think up these days. This is your chance to learn tips and easy-to-implement practices for having a healthy green garden that you don't have to water every day. I like that part. This is another event that came to us through the Arlington County Public Library, so here's their official rundown. MGNV Master Gardeners will discuss which plants can best survive our long, hot summers, how to group plants to take advantage of existing water sources, and use of water gardens, rain barrels, and best landscaping practices. This is an online class offered by Extension Master Gardeners via Zoom. The speaker will be Extension Master Gardener Joan McIntyre, who leads the Virginia Cooperative Extension MGNV Neighborhood Champions program that supports Extension Master Gardeners as they offer gardening expertise to their neighborhoods. You can RSVP at https://mgnv.org/event/waterwise-gardening/. You'll get an immediate email confirmation, but they want you to check your email for registration confirmation and make sure to check your spam folder. Do not register twice. I guess that's been a problem. You will then receive an additional email with the Zoom link and password and any additional materials 24 hours prior to the class. After that, you will receive a reminder email with the Zoom link and password and any additional materials 1 hour prior to the class. Registration closes an hour before the event begins. That's on Friday, July 31st from 10 o'clock to 11:30 a.m. Sounds like they're being pretty careful about the email thing. Don't blame me, I didn't say fussy. Now we got a nice, in-depth interview with Chris Yeazel of Flair Rides. What I like about this one is that the interviewer mostly keeps his mouth shut.
Back in November 2019, Don Hammond's Arlington Weekly News featured an interview with Chris Yeazel, co-founder and COO of Flair, an alternative ride service based in Arlington. To say the least, there have been some changes since then, so Mr. Yeazel is back with an update.
My name's Chris Yeazel. I'm co-founder of micro-mobility services company based in South Arlington called Flair. We launched in late 2019 with the mission of providing safe, sustainable, and equitable transportation that can be accessible by all residents and all users of a transportation system, regardless of factors like disability status, age. And what we're trying to work on now is a system that will allow stakeholders like planners or developers to take an assessment of transportation options and transportation access in the areas where they operate, just to get an objective comparison versus other areas in terms of transportation access, regardless of factors like income, age, race, disability status, and a variety of other factors, and then take a look at best practices from cities and municipalities and regions across the country to obtain recommendations and ideas for how to improve transportation accessibility and ensure that the benefits of a transportation system are distributed equally to all residents of an area regardless of those factors. In pursuit of our objectives of contributing towards more safe, sustainable, and accessible transportation options and transportation systems, we recently launched a partnership with George Washington University's Sustainable Urban Planning Program. They do a lot of amazing work to improve things ranging from public health in urban planning, improving pedestrian and other transportation options in neighborhoods, promoting more sustainable urban design and more sustainable design for buildings, and a host of other factors. Our focus this summer in our partnership is to identify what factors contribute most to addressing equity issues in transportation systems, and our focus is really on identifying exactly what those factors are and determining the best way to obtain reliable, accurate data about them, ideally from public sources, to include census data, get down to the census tract level. Once COVID hit mid-March, we immediately transitioned all of our operations to supporting COVID relief efforts in South Arlington and more recently in DC. So we partnered with Crystal City Business Improvement District, now National Landing, Ballston Business Improvement District, the Aurora Highlands Community Association, Crystal City Civic Association, and some other actors in Arlington to support a food drive for the Arlington Food Assistance Center to support people who need assistance now more than ever for the simple things like putting food on their table to begin with. So in partnership with those other organizations and the people who live in the communities in those cities and those parts of Arlington, we were able to collect and deliver almost 3,700 pounds of food to AFAC, which was an amazing thing to be a part of. We also partner with Columbia Pike Revitalization Organization to deliver meals to nurses at Virginia Hospital Center as part of a program that they started, which is another thing that's been really amazing to support and participate in. And most recently, we began supporting MRP Realty's Victory Meals program, which delivers meals to the United Medical Center in Southeast DC. The cool thing about these programs has been that it's kind of a win-win where on one hand, we're supporting restaurants that may have been struggling with impacts from COVID, but then we're also having the opportunity to show support to nurses and other hospital staff that are on the front lines fighting COVID. At this stage, we're working to relaunch our passenger service, and as part of that, we've implemented extensive safety precautions to ensure the health and safety of our passengers, and this is based on guidelines from the CDC and state guidelines. It includes installation of vinyl dividers from floor to ceiling in our vehicles, providing masks to passengers who don't already have them or may have forgotten their mask. We're allowing one passenger per row of our vehicles, barring the exception of people who live together. We're using disinfectant on all touch surfaces in our vehicles after every ride, and we'll also be driving with windows cracked. And we're planning to stage some events across Arlington over the course of the summer just to demonstrate those precautions and kind of get the word out that our goal is now to resume passenger operations with those extensive precautions in place and continue to be a safe alternative transportation option for residents in Arlington. The other thing that we've had the chance to see is the courage and the commitment of people on the front lines fighting COVID, nurses at United Medical Center in DC, nurses and staff at Virginia Hospital Center locations throughout Arlington. So it has been a very personal thing for me, for many other people I know, and then for us as a business. And I think most of all, we feel very fortunate for the opportunity to have done things in the active sense to contribute to help people who are facing these challenges throughout Arlington. So we're just getting started on the assessment system. We're still currently at the stage where we're trying to map out exactly what data will be included. So based on research we've read, there's tons of good research out there from any number of universities and any number of researchers that map out the factors that in many ways and in many examples are impacted by transportation access. On a personal level, I think I was first exposed to the impacts that transportation access and transportation equity can have on a region and can have on residents of a city. With some of the first work I did when I left the Army, which was an amazing opportunity I had to intern at a community organizing group in Baltimore called CPHA. And one of the big areas of focus we had while I was there was educating and kind of laying groundwork for residents in West Baltimore to benefit from a proposed expansion of the light rail in Baltimore. A project was called the Red Line, and that was really designed to address years of systemic efforts to cut East Baltimore and West Baltimore off from the economy of the rest of the city, not only through practices like redlining and blockbusting in the 50s, 60s, but also through deliberate practices of what's called exclusionary design, which, in terms of transportation access, as simple as placement of one-way streets designed to cut neighborhoods off from the rest of a city, neighborhoods being plowed over with overpasses. And in West Baltimore, there's a famous example of something that's called the Highway to Nowhere, which is a highway that construction was actually ended on, but kind of the relic of this highway still exists in West Baltimore. The Red Line was really intended to address a lot of those issues, and it was really amazing to see the huge economic impact and social impact that those very obviously systemic, racist, deliberate policy decisions combined with dishonest real estate practices, the lasting impact of that legacy still today, 50 to 75 years later, was really unbelievable. So we've been really honored by the support we've received from the Sustainable Urban Planning Program at GW. Definitely need to give a shout out to Dr. Sandra Whitehead, who's the director of the program there. She's been just an amazing resource for us in pointing us in the right direction on things to look at. And then also really excited to have a grad student from the program, Robin Kogelneck, join us. She has incredible background in interests throughout the realm of sustainable urban and regional planning to include public health. She has tremendous advocacy and kind of stakeholder engagement experience as well. So we've been really honored by that support and really excited to have Robin join our team and kind of assist with the development of this tool as part of her graduate capstone project.
This next segment is a kind of combination of out and about and signs of the times. It comes from some discoveries from walking along the Washington and Old Dominion bike trail between Ohio Street and Brandymore Castle. Proceeding westward, the first sign said, "Media Matter." Well, for people who read newspapers, listen to the radio, or watch TV, that sounds like a fair enough statement. Maybe someone's trying to help out Arlington independent media, who could certainly use it. However, the signs that appear later convey a different tone. Media lies matter. I call them signs anyway, even though they're really just chalk messages printed on convenient surfaces. By the time I got to the sign that said, "Media is the virus," it occurred to me that chalk is a medium, and that these messages might constitute a kind of media all by themselves. There was nothing to specify whether the media being vilified was Fox News or MSNBC or the Washington Post or Arl Now, so the message is kind of vague. It's a little bit like complaining about bipeds. Then there was the one that said, no, the numeral 2, communism, which you could read as no to communism, or you could read it like the old no to pencil, number 2 pencil, and wonder what the difference was between number 1 communism and number 2 communism, but that would just be playing dumb. Anyway, I decided to air these images for evaluation by the greater public. As for the writer, I would add the caveat, amplification of a message can also be exposure of the message. And that concludes this week's show. We will be back next week with more news from Arlington, along with some on-the-ground observations. Meanwhile, be careful, be safe, and be well.
It ain't the heat, it's the humidity that'll get your attention. Out on the street, it's stupidity if you fail to mention that it's hot, hot, hot in Washington, capital of the nation. Yeah, it's hot, hot, hot in Washington. Go grab a cold libation. Off the be discreet, it'll only make it hotter, because it's hot, hot, hot in Washington, capital of the nation. You know it's hot, hot, hot in Washington. Go grab a cold libation. In the office air, it's nice and cool. You found a place to hide. If you're freezing there, don't be a fool. Just take a step outside, because it's hot, hot, hot in Washington, capital of the nation. You know it's hot, hot, hot in Washington. Go grab a cold libation. Yeah, it's hot, hot, hot in Washington, mid to upper 90s. You know it's hot, hot, hot in Washington. Rip off those tidy whities if you have to work out in the heat. Drink lots and lots of water. You can take your shirt off, don't be discreet. It'll only make it hotter, because it's hot, hot, hot in Washington, capital of the nation. You know it's hot, hot, hot in Washington. Go grab a cold libation, because it's hot, hot, hot in Washington. Grab a cold libation. You know it's hot, hot, hot in Washington, capital of the nation. Hot, hot, hot in Washington. Hot, hot,